I'm very interested to know about what you think should be the thrust areas for Bangladesh to work with other countries in the region.
Well, right now Bangladesh itself is actually opening up. Purchasing power parity has enhanced a lot. Purchasing power capacity of individuals has increased a lot. So retail service has actually developed quite a bit, and that is probably the way to go. Retail will certainly do very well in Bangladesh in the coming days, especially in the metropolitan cities like Dhaka, Chittagong, Sylhet. They've done fantastic.
Right.
Real estate is booming. But regardless, bottom line, I believe manufacturing will remain to be the major strength of Bangladesh in this hub of, or in this complete region.
Everybody always talks about how much of human resource we have and how we want to export human resource. But do you think that there are enough businesses who are looking at opportunities for taking products outside the country to the regional hubs?
That's a very interesting question. To the region, yes, we do have products, but are we doing enough? I don't think so. We need to promote ourselves a lot more. There are, once again, certain barriers that we cannot even promote our product across the border. So these are on the table of discussions, and I hope in the near future we will be able to resolve a lot of these issues when it comes to even broadcasting. There are certain regulations, restrictions that are put on for Bangladeshi channels broadcasting abroad, or foreign channels broadcasting into Bangladesh. So these hopefully would come to a conclusion quite soon.
But there are all these SARC bodies, and there are actually joint platforms where these things can actually move from. But how effective do you think those are?
Once again, unfortunately, it's not as effective as it should be.
What would you want them to do actually? What are the areas they should be looking into?
We actually discussed a lot of the problems already.
Yeah.
And these are the same problems that even these forums are discussing on. But are they discussing strongly enough? I don't think so. We have a SARC Chamber of Commerce. They do quite a bit, but still then it's just not enough. Regional chambers, local chambers, everyone is trying. We even have bilateral chambers, say for example India-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce or Pakistan-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce. There's Friendship Chamber of Commerce, or Friendship Chambers, or associations, however they're called. But we are just not doing enough. We really need to get our hands on it. We need to have a strong will that we really intend to achieve these. Then only if it's the business community who puts up a very strong voice, that's the only time when the politicians or the bureaucrats will take it seriously. It will be the trade that has to do the talk.
Right. That's a very strong point that you laid down over there. I'm very eager to know about your views on having a common currency for the region. Have you discussed it in several platforms, I'm sure?
I personally believe it's too early to discuss. I personally believe that it's too early to actually go in that direction. Even before we enhance the trade between the region, I think it might not be even feasible. But certainly, yes, look at European Union. They have gone into that direction and they have been successful. But the reason why they have been successful is because of their intertrade between the countries.
Right. That has to be healthy first.
Absolutely. It has to remain. The cross-border traveling has to be waived. I mean, like right now, for a businessman to go to India or a businessman to come from India to Bangladesh is so difficult that, I mean, like, you cannot even think of having a common currency. That's just beyond my imagination. We have to have open borders to travel back and forth between the SARC countries. That's only when we can actually talk about having a common currency among these countries.
All this discussion that we had is probably giving people an idea that you are, working like 26 hours a day, if that's possible.
Give me a few more hours.
I'm sure. But I'm sure you take time off from work and try to enjoy yourself. What do you do when you're like not working?
Well, I love the beach. Even if it's a long weekend, I try to go to Cox's Bazar, which is fortunately the largest or the longest beach of Bangladesh. And the best thing I love about it is the entrepreneurs, the small entrepreneurs that have actually grown in Cox's Bazar. They've put in a lot of water sports in it. Nowadays, when you go there, you can do surfing, you can do jet skiing, you can do parasailing. There's a lot of buggies that you can even drive on the beach. And whenever I'm there, that's what I love to do. I'm a very sporty person. I love sports. I play beach soccer. I would play beach cricket. Usually, even if it's like a 2-day or 3-day trip, that's something that I love to do. But besides that, if I'm in Dhaka, most of the time I do love going out for a long drive on my Fords.
Of course. Take a new car from the workshop and take it for a drive.
But besides that, I love a lot of sports. Either I'm watching sports, either most of the time it's football. I love cricket, but at the same time I love American football. Very contradictory, but I am a very sporty person. I'm not much into reading, but my hobbies are mostly with cars, collecting car models and all that. I love reading magazines, GQ. Sometimes I would read, well, business magazines are of course a very
But
common.
GQ
Yeah.
is a preferred magazine.
But
Of
GQ
course.
is my preferred one. Fortune 500, of course, but car
course.
magazines top it all.
Absolutely.
So, and of course, you gotta stay in touch with fashion. So you gotta know what's going on in the
You're
fashion
excused.
world.
You're a young person. It's okay. It's okay to admit to those indulgences. So when you go abroad, when you're representing your country in global platforms, what kind of questions do you get about Bangladesh, and do you find it difficult to sell a Bangladeshi product in a global market?
Oh, absolutely. Well, except for in the global arena, our ready-made garments is well known. But other than that, whenever it comes to, say, for example, new products like IT-enabled services or some new stuff in textiles, we always get taken aback. A lot of people don't even know where Bangladesh is, and they don't even know that only 5.6% of our total population belongs to the age group of 65 and above. So which actually indicates that we have a very young population who are educated, very strong workforce. So altogether, we actually need to put all of that together whenever we are trying to present our country or our products abroad. But besides that, it's actually now quite well known, either because of floods or because of famine. But a lot of times the funniest questions we would get in a lot of foreign countries is that do you ride
Boats to work.
boats to work? And like, what the hell?
Okay, but of course, now that there's internet, you can promote your country,
Right.
and you yourself are representing very progressive businesses. So I guess all that will change, and
It has already started to change.
Right.
The perception has changed a lot. With our ready-made garments mainly, we have already made a mark in the global arena. We have also taken limelight, as a matter of fact, from international donors, whereas this country in the last 38 years has actually moved on from being a aid-dependent country to a trade-dependent country. So that is actually a big change.
Big change.
It's we have now proved that the private sector is the engine of growth for Bangladesh, and that is going to remain. And if at all this country has to flourish, it has to be through the private sector. And well, Bangladesh is just floating on opportunities. We have so much opportunities, geographical location, the manpower. Of course, a lot of people think that 150 million people is a burden. It's not. It is certainly not. It's the workforce that a lot of people crave for.
Right.
A lot of countries just wish that they had that workforce. Our manpower or our foreign overseas workers are actually our pride. They keep cities, big cities clean. Of course, they may be doing a lot of third-grade jobs, but then end of the day, my hats off to them. It's because of them we are getting 10 to 12 billion dollars worth of remittances every year. So that's another second biggest. I personally want to look at it as an export for the country.
It is.
It is bringing in the second highest revenue for the country.
I think Bangladesh is now moving on to exporting more doctors and nurses.
It
and
is,
other
but it's
skilled
still on a very
personnel.
limited scale, but we need
That's
to
what
move up
we're
the ladder.
growing. Would you agree that a lot of Bangladeshi youth are actually very keen on starting enterprises, which is a very, I think, positive way of building
Absolutely,
the nation.
and we all need to encourage them.
It was wonderful talking to you. It was very enlightening, and I'm sure our young friends from TV Southasia will be inspired by your presence in our show today. Thank you so much for giving us time.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. My friends from Southasia, I'd like to conclude our discussion for today. Hope to see you in another conversation in Talk Dhaka next week. Till then, goodbye.